young lad, but even then, here on Inferno, I mean, we saw Pilly say that it wasn't an Opper's paradise, but he's certainly treating like it. And oh boy, this boost. It could be big if they actually do want to look over towards that smoke, but the smoke on platform is a little bit too deep for them, or a little bit too tall. Still a whole lot of potential for Atomic to get a couple of frags as he himself has a little bit of a boost going on. I don't know what's going on, but RBG, they're in for a surprise if they can't make their way on. Big flashes, 2 players over towards Grill. Wiz looking for the wide swing. Molly to cover up. Sherps has to be the one to really interact. Atomic still in the back. The insurance policy gets another one. 1 player remaining in a 1v4. 30 seconds left. And the bomb plan finally goes down. Almost no hope, but Wiz, he's certainly a man. Still with a whole lot of fragging power, but he just has to take it one by one. But he's not going to be able to do so. Atomic, what a round.
That's a massive round for Atomic. Gus, look at that stat line. 13-0 to start things off here.
Unreal.
On Inferno. Plus the clutch going in there for the young lad. This is his second game of Premier. This is his second map of Premier. Let's just put it that way.
Second map of Premier. Both of these teams making their debuts, but you got to be joking me with that. Any less timed in a sense, if Atomic was off by maybe a couple of milliseconds or just a second off, he would have been completely exposed, but instead he takes that all the way to the bank.
It's a great bit of work from Atomic. I didn't expect him to have this kind of a response here, but if Atomic can keep on putting up numbers like that and the rest of Imperium can grow around it, we might see a third map here. And as it stands right now, this is a completely different Imperium team from what we saw in Mirage. It's like you just took the other one, abducted it, and replaced it with a bunch of clones that are hitting all the headshots.
This is a renewed Imperium side thus far, but RBG still with the rifles back and a little bit of util. We've seen how efficient they are in terms of just essentials, and my god, what a kill that was from Walco. We didn't see it from his view, but we could tell how much of a snap that was. Still Walco looking for more, and Wilkie himself with a little bit of steeziness, still getting one through the smoke. So RBG still halted around the mid area as they haven't made any moves at all. They haven't made any space towards A. They were looking for the pick spogs, and they got at least one of them for their favor. Still Imperium maintaining the 2-2 split.
It's still solid when you have Atomic holding one of those 2 sides. Atomic's over on A, so no B presence from the Opera this time around. But J-Dubs and Sherps more than capable of holding this down. Huge gap in that smoke for CT2. However, the spray goes awry from J-Dubs, and the Molly burns Sherps alive. Wilkie trying to get another smoke kill will not be successful with that. And despite the damage dealt onto the RBG players, it is a 4v2 in the favor of the T side. Wolfie tucking into the cubby should get this kill on towards Wilkie. And indeed he will. Atomic would need a 4K in back-to-back rounds to grab this victory for Imperium. And I think he's going to try and save that op again, Gus. And despite what looked like a great bit of momentum going the way of Imperium, it gets shut right back down. The early pick again going their way, but shut back down. RBG showing that mental fortitude that they are capable of, and also showing why they were a team that was capable of making it to the playoffs last season of Premier, and why they are a team that can do some serious damage no matter the opponent and no matter the situation.
Can Imperium bring back that same energy? We're heading into, apologies, a tech pause. As, again, Imperium, they have a whole lot to really think about in terms of their next round. I guess they still have that op back on Atomic. He's going to be a big pivot in a sense. We're going to see him on a little bit of a faster rotation. But just going back to this RBG team and how much history they actually have in recent time, it's really impressive, actually, to see them kind of be in this position, period, to really be in this stature of play, because it just seems like yesterday, Boggs, they were playing in Fragadelphias and still competing in advance. It's almost nostalgic in a sense.
It really is kind of nostalgic. A team that has battled back and seen it all. A team that struggled with some mental issues, and when it came to crunch time in the playoffs of Advance too, they overcame those demons, and they've really become a forefront of the North American scene, and a team that should be an example to others with not changing their core for such a long time. And again, July 31st of 2019 is when these players, this core three of Walco, Wiz, and Hext, first came together.
Oh, I mean, that's that in itself is already a a testament to how, again, this RBG team has been very dedicated to their craft, dedicated to the squad. You don't see that a lot in tier 2, tier 3 North American CS, and they definitely took the right route to succeed in a sense. But with a couple of roster moves, it's almost like they were biting the bullet. Still, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a round back in our favor. And when I said that Atomic was going to be a little bit more versatile, a little bit more on the move, I didn't really think that he would be up apartments in a sense. But still, 3 players for Imperium sitting around the B area as RBG, they prepare their take.
The stack here, but the pistols can only do so much. We've seen RBG pull off rounds like this. We saw Imperium pull off a pretty good pistol round themselves on a Mirage, but can they pull it off here? RBG playing a very good textbook anti-force spy. Very wary of anything, very wary of the pistol angles that Inferno is known for. Hex is going to start things off with another CT smoke utility being used now, starting to flood in towards the site. In goes Hex, but there's a boost towards Emo, and this could be huge. J-Dubs might push through smoke too, but Hex has to clear out Dart.
Oh.
Actually, it's going to be Wiz with the first shot. Walco Hextall finding kills, and it's the RBG Core 3 getting those triple entries. Up going to be saved, and Wilkie not wanting to give any loss bonus over to Imperium will run as well. Back up Atomic, and it will be a 2-round deficit now for RBG to try and climb back.
2-round deficit still ain't nothing I would like to think on the T side of Inferno. I mean, if anything, we still very much are anticipating a half win by Imperium, at least in the long run for me. But with RBGs just booting back rounds, essentially in times where they're not destined to do so, when they're not projected to do so, is already more than enough for them to get at least a little bit of flair going into that second half. So at least Imperium going into the second half has to be a little bit more, I guess you could say, competent, just a little bit cleaner in their play. And Wilkie still trying to boot on some economic damage at the end of things with this 5-7. But yeah, I guess Imperium heading into this next round, it's way more important than we would anticipate because they do get their buy back. And RBG, they're still very much thriving, and this buy is going to last them a whole heck of a lot of time. Imperium, with this loss alone, essentially gives RBG the 5-5 scoreline.
Yeah, RBG, plenty of money. Imperium, not so much. The only player with any cash left over is Atomic, unless you want to count the $50 that could buy you a decoy in the bank account of Valens. But I think that's pretty much a moot point right now. The saving of the op for Atomic, though, is going to be the critical part of this round. But Atomic, who's been playing over towards the A side the last few rounds, has rotated over towards B. And look where RBG are heading. This is a read and a half right now.
Look at this setup. Look at this setup. Still 2 players in the back, acting as pivot, acting as util, and just, oh man. Valens, no chance, no shot he can get anything done from that position. RBG, again, it was as explosive as I had anticipated going into this game because they still have very much their strat book already set. I don't know really who's controlling it or who's getting all of these setups up, but RBG, they look so in sync off of these takes. I mean, you just saw 3 players still making their way in, and they all had their own target. They all had their own goal. Still the 2 players in the back, they still had their util setup. That's more than anticipated for a tier 2, tier 1 team. But even then, RBG, every single person off that take had some sort of goal, had some sort of target, and they were able to instill it with absolute ease. Off of this post plant, though, they have nothing to worry about. It was still going to be a 3v4. It was still very much a challenge. But Imperium, they're thinking more economically in a sense, as going into this next one, this Imperium team, they're not exactly willing to let go of their lead.
No, they're not, but it's going to be very difficult for them to stave off this RBG squad that have started to find some form. They've started to find momentum here despite the 5-1 start for Imperium. Timeout called. I'm going to assume this is a tactical timeout. Most likely by Imperium to try and stop the bleeding and get some momentum back in their favor before the scoreline gets tied, and it would also equate to a reset economically for them too. It is Imperium calling attack pause, so I like this call. It's definitely the veteran leadership of Valens coming in here. What will Imperium do off of the back of this, though, is my question. Will they try and pick up the pace and go aggressive towards apartments or alt mid? I think that could be the answer. Get your information, maybe get a kill, fall off. If you can get the opening pick as the CT side, you can wait for the T side to hit. You can hold on to your utility a little bit longer and make things work out a whole lot better.
Just a good call in general, good mental call. And going into this one, Balance is actually going to trying to stick around with his pivot role in terms of util. We saw how versatile he actually was in terms of a hard hold over towards that B site just with Q-till and a pistol alone. So this guy now sticking up with a Deeg, and with Imperium playing up double banana RBG, they're still staying very much conservative. They're not trying to push the situation. An early pick here would be huge for really either team, but it doesn't look like RBG is going to be the one to push it out. Instead, Imperium doubled up, and there goes that flash. Never mind, RBG, they wanted that control. They wanted that take. Although it's a default, they win everything out. The rotation is going to come in from the A side, and RBG almost surely has this one in the bank.
Yes, they do. And Gus, to answer your earlier question about the IGL for RBG, it is Walco who's taken over the reins.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. And he's still fragging out, too, which is a huge boost to RBG. And we saw how well Hex and Walco performed on Mirage. Walco 7-7 right now. The early casualty for the squad, but the bomb going down, and Imperium with no contestation in their blood. They're going to surrender this round. It's going to be knotted at 5 apiece. Maybe Wilkie can get an exit here, or Atomic, one of the two. But overall, it does not look good for Imperium. They're starting to slide, and with Wilkie going down, that leaves Atomic next in line. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh.
That is rough. An op now picked up for Wiz to try and work his magic. But, oh, this is getting really, really rough now for Imperium. 4 rounds straight and the money gone.
Yeah, this is more or less the disaster scenario, because this really should be the round where they have the rifles, but Imperium, they wanted to push their luck and go for the 3-man save just 2 rounds ago. So it gets to this situation now where RBG, they just keep sticking around with rifles. Their economy is able to thrive for way longer. They start to they begin to set up that momentum that they were very much anticipating off of that first half setup, especially over towards the Mirage side that we ended up seeing. And of course, and everything ended up exploding after Imperium, I think, only got 2 rounds in the second half of Mirage. Now, again, it almost seems like a far cry of time ever since we last seen this Imperium squad actually get around. But it's going to be plays like this that could potentially take them back. But what on earth? Balance. Balance not able to make his way through. Instead, now with just about a minute left, RBG still a man down, looking for the rotation. And Imperium still very much active on this B side. There's a man, again, still up in the pots, but Sherp's going to be able to not get anything, just a little bit of damage. Still J-Dub's here for a cleanup. Still 2-on-3. Walco and Wiz down in terms of HP. Walco waiting up for the cross out of the smoke. That's huge. It's an equal 2v2. Atomic, J-Dubs, both around the construction area, both around church, trying to make their way through, and neither one of these RBG players really showing any pixels. They're waiting for this Imperium squad to push out this back situation. They have no flashes, no mollies. They have to get this done, but J-Dubs on the front end is going to get traded out. Atomic now on 32 HP, has to be the hero. Still has a smoke, but he just wants to go for it. And Walco, what a round, brings it back for RBG. A 4K for the man, as, hey, we were talking about how Walco, still the all-present mind of this RBG squad, but still very much versatile in the fragging department.
Oh yeah, there's been no real slowing down of his fragging game. If anything, he actually might have upped his fragging power. And that's not something you normally get to say about somebody who goes from a primary rifler to an IGL, but if Walco can make that work, why is Atomic at 22 HP?
I don't know. What on earth happened?
Are you okay? You're not roast chicken.
It's that rotisserie. I guess we could probably pick up on the way back, Boggs. You do want a birthday dinner, something of the sort. I'm sure Atomic would be happy to provide that, but, well, somebody's hungry already. Imperium, they already want to eat their dinner, but RBG, they're the ones eating at the moment. They already take away Wilkie. And potentially another one. Wolfie more than ready for it. He was anticipating a cross in mid, but Chirps walks right into his crosshair. But even with the low HP, Atomic's still fragging out. Very interesting position for him to be in solo over towards the B side, but it's as cheesy as you can get as now Valence. It's the same thing. He waits for that smoke to dissipate, and he waits for the explosion. J-Dubs being the last person remaining on the A site. Atomic essentially on the fast rotate, looking for an arch wrap as J-Dub still has no information over towards that side. Still a whole lot of util for RBG to use for the rest of this one. Atomic and J-Dubs, they have to go massive to really make this work.
Good shot there from Atomic onto Walco, but it's now still a 2v2, and Atomic is very low from that earlier barbecue he was in. J-Dubs has to get at least one here, preferably both. If not, it's going to be a very difficult retake of the A site with an op. J-Dubs pushes up towards the big stack, spots out the first, but it's Wolfie to win that duel. Bomb going down. It's a safe plant for RBG. 7 seconds on the clock, turns to 6 when the bomb goes down. Atomic going to attempt the retake early on. Or maybe not. It's a rough call because you have max loss, but that's only 3,400 in the bank. So that means you cannot get M4s in utility on anybody. Except for Atomic, who can drop an M4 for somebody. That's if you want to do this. This is a pattern that some teams fall into on Inferno on the T side or the CT sides, where you just continually save and save and save, and you're never really able to get a full buy, but you're also never on a terrible buy. It's a vicious cycle, and the only way to break that cycle is to win rounds, and that's something Imperium have not done in 6. And that, I think, is the biggest problem right now from them. They're not getting the early picks, and when they do lose that early man, they try and go for an aggressive peak without any utility like Sherps and DeBoiler right there, and that costs them. It costs them big.
Yeah. Surely did. And again, Imperium not able to really land on their feet. Has really become a detriment in terms of what has been just these play-by-plays, because it's the individual interactions that's really giving RBG these rounds. But speaking of individuals, one individual that has been absolutely pivotal for the success of this team has been Atomic, but Hexed, oh, wait a minute, runs right into the crosshair. Wilkie with a double no-scope on players trying to spill out of the apartments area. Wilkie might have just given this team a chance, but Wiz, he's looking to one-up this performance with his own op play. Wide peek in mid. He's not going to be able to cover up, but that's, again, that close gap, and they just wide swing on. Wolfie has to be the linchpin. Going to be able to get 1-1 over towards the mid side. No chance. Imperium on the eco and a hero rifle. It wasn't exactly Atomic to pull it off. None other than Wilkie picking up the op play in a 6th round for Imperium, essentially out of thin air.
It's a massive round, and it comes off of a double no-scope of all things, guys. Let's get this replay here. Get Hex on the initial pick, but that's picked up off for Wilkie. Oh, that second no-scope perfectly clean. The headshot that came through, too. Beautiful stuff there from Wilkie. Those individual plays are always boosts that teams can use as step ladders to try and get back into games. Imperium are able to do that here, but still at best it can get an 8-7 Yes, Inferno is turning more T-sided in today's game, but you still want a little bit of leeway going on to the T side here. They elected to start on the CT side as it is RBG's map pick. They want a little more buffer before we go to the second half of this map.
They want more stability in a sense, essentially knowing how RBG on the CT side could essentially act. But wow, so much pressure.
Oh, wow.
In terms of util on the mid side. Imperium, they were going for all or nothing off of that clear, and RBG, they had their insurance policy. It was Walco alongside Wiz near the mid position, looking away from the util, and still Atomic, ever aware, ever consistent, getting himself one early on, but he gets overwhelmed. Hex takes him back. Valens now, he's been lurking around a whole lot, and once again, he's looking for a smoke take. Oh, that's unfortunate. Sherps, he's gonna be on his lonesome now for this 1v3. Still has a little bit of util to go off. Lots of time. It's now, at least he's in this pivotal position, but you gotta feel bad for him. He could have anticipated that crossover from Wolfie just to at least start things off, but Hex in the background doesn't allow for any of his comrades to go down. Instead, it is RBG with an 8th round, and they're looking to finish things off in style. As Imperium, they still put up a fight. They were looking for a little bit more of an all or nothing type take over in mid round, but it simply didn't work out for them. That almost seems to be like the theme of this half thus far, or at least from what we've seen in this half as of late.
Yeah, there's been no real stability for Imperium once they got that 5-round streak over with. It's just been RBG doing what they do best, winning aim duels. And when the going gets tough, that's kind of what you have to rely on, especially on a map like Inferno where teams can hold you back with utility. Once you can break that utility or break through it with fast-paced aggression, timed aggression, it becomes incredibly hard as a CT side to stop anything. And Imperium really have come up short when they have not been provided with insane individual plays. There needs to be a little more from Imperium, a little more basis behind rounds than just somebody going off to really be able to become a stable team. Yes, they've shown promise in this game so far, and on Inferno in particular, but we need to see more of this. It could be another 9-6 half in the favor of RBG. Yeah. And given the fact that RBG are on the T side here, that would be pretty detrimental to Imperium's chances at a third map.
Certainly. So again, we still have to, still gonna watch out for Imperium's chances still going into the second half. And again, I do trust the mind of Valens for the pistol rounds. I mean, we've seen it before already. 3 pistol rounds being won in this game alone. So, I mean, if anything, RBG, they're not clear out of the water yet. Imperium could easily tie up the scoreline early on, but they need this round. It's not just a tie scoreline. They need the lead. They need to maintain it. Something that they struggled with again, their economy being scrappy. They tried to be a little bit more conservative. They tried to be more centric towards a more economic setup. But now with 30 seconds left, RBG, they're the ones getting slow. They're the ones being safe in a sense. 25 seconds left on the clock. In comes the take. Molly back Xbox, Molly coffin. Atomic still in the back line, picking up one. Sherp's in a beautiful position, and Grill still one in the back. Atomic has not taken too much damage. Chop still very much ready for it. 10 seconds left. He has to take on a 1v3. Imperium still very much on the rotation back. 2 in the CT side. Chop only with a smoke to work with, but 43 HP. If any man can pull it off, it has to be him, but he just needs to take this frag by frag as no one from Imperium is really peeking him out. But this could be his chance. Up close, takes down J-Dubs. The spray down doesn't work out in his favor, and that's a massive one. The hold from Atomic and Sherps equalizes a round back from Imperium to close out the half. And just like that, folks, we got a ball game. Imperium going into the second half with momentum, with a chance, and potentially a pistol round win. Find out as we come back into this map in just a little bit.
Still your smile keep on heating up the climate, and all the blood to my cheeks are rushing out, yeah. And by accident, you're getting closer. Oh, can you tell me something, tell me something? Is it a wild shot of letting you know that you're the topic of all of my thoughts, yeah. 'Cause I'm so sick of this friend zone. Whatever it is, it just feels so real. And your eyes keep on talking in the silence, and all the blood to my cheeks are rushing out, yeah. And I'm hoping you are getting closer. Oh, can you tell me something, tell me something? Is it a wild shot of letting you know that you're the topic of all of my thoughts, yeah. Can you tell me something, tell me something? something, tell me something. Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? 'Cause I'm so sick of this friend zone.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, I see no signals, no signs. Girl, you be tripping, no lies, nah. You said you're not set by. I flew in all the way for this. I'm not here to waste your time. I just can't give you vibes, you changed a bit. Girl, you mad teasing. I don't mind leaving, just let me know. She told me take it easy.
Welcome on back, folks. Map number 2 between Imperium and RBG about to kick off. And Boggs, we've kept hyping up this pistol round because it is just so important for Imperium. But try to explain why here, because this RBG squad, we are very much anticipating a successful half on the CT side.
This is an RBG squad that is not afraid to take the fight to you when on the defense. In fact, they are quite often the ones to take the aggression instead of playing on a more passive CT setup. Inferno is a map that will not change that fact for RBG. They have very solid utility, and for Imperium, you're already down 1 round. You need this pistol round and the 2 afterwards to really give yourself a chance to get back into this game and take it to a map 3, which is Nuke, which is not going to be a fun time for you unless you have had some time to practice it. So overall, I would almost call this a must-win round for Imperium to even take this to a map number 3.
Surely so, but we have to wait up, I guess, just a little bit more. Seems like we do have a technical pause on the server, as again we could talk about more on the odds of Imperium going forward, because I don't know, RBG, from what we've seen in the past few seasons on Inferno, their CT side, as if their T side wasn't comfortable enough, their CT side, it almost seems like they enter a flow state.
Yeah, they get very smooth and very flowy. Yeah, it's a good way to put it. They flow like an ocean and they wash over their opponents, quite literally washing over them by pushing into them and just sweeping them away. So for Imperium, any momentum they can get early on is going to be critical, and not allowing RBG to find that momentum and find that stride is going to be huge for them. Walco aggressive with the CZ, though, in apartments could shut this down pretty early. Actually gets chased away, though. So let's see if Imperium can get something out of this
one. Ooh, again, Wolfie and Walco looking to combine here is really the rest of the RBG team looking to actually clear up more space, trying to get more information over towards Banana at the same time too. Imperium, they're not exactly committed to this. They still have bomb over towards the mid side. They're just trying to see if they can actually create this space over in short. Wolfie has not shown any pixels. Instead, Imperium, they back out of this opportunity. Wolfie still takes on the damage. Hexed. There you go. Like I mentioned before, looking for the information play, looking to make space down in Banana, and he does get the frag back. Now it's a 4-on-5 with RBG really maintaining some weird spots here. Double hold over in shorts. And not only that, but a CZ up close in apartments. No way Wilkie expects this, but he still wins it out. 4v4 box.
Wiz, though, chiming in with 2 quick kills to get the man advantage back. J-Dubs, though, 2 on the Glock, but Chop is able to finish him off and put Wilkie into a 1v2. Ooh. A dink, I believe, through the wall coming in there from Hex, and the final shot is a headshot through the doorway. That will be RBG winning their first pistol round of this series. And it comes at a huge time for them, as they could pretty much put this one to bed very quickly here. 7 rounds away from the match and their first win in the season of Premier in their first game. It's going to be a pistol buy here from Imperium. A couple P250s on the board, 3 of them to be exact, and 4 nades. Molotov from Wolfie goes down, but it's a nade stack Banana. Let's see what kind of damage it can do. Walco, Chop, both chunked down. Only 1 kill from Chop, and the flashbang from Walco gets him nothing but a bullet to the face. That's a huge kill, and 2 from Imperium.
Whoa.
Wiz already... Wait,
no way.
No. Oh, you saw what I did. That bomb in a bad spot. Valen's taken down too. Bomb plant will come through, but Wiz is already here, and that nade damage so impactful. And now it's going to finish up on a Wilkie. Sherp's the last alive, and Gus, well, he actually gets one.
Whoa! Okay, Box. So from a 10-foot point view, I guess, not bad at all for the bomb being right in front of the CT gap, and Imperium coming into this with the pistols, clearing up sight with really barely any util. That's the one thing that I was kind of I was freaking out about. Just no way these guys just don't have a smoke for CT. But Imperium, what on earth is going on this round? Boggs, you would have a heart attack. We saw this in our open games. Double op setup on the T side. What is going on?
Yeah, no. First of all, double op on T side Inferno is never the option. And two, one of them is a glass cannon op on T side. This is causing me to mold very heavily right now. You can't see me on face cam, but production can. I am a little animated and not very happy about this call. This is beyond desperation. This is throwing a Hail Mary into quadruple coverage when it's a 2-score game and you have a quarter and a half to play.
Oh, wow. So you're just mentioning Patrick Mahomes at this point. I see you.
Well, no, because Imperium still have an O-line.
Oh, my God. Oh, folks, 1 minute left in the round. The double ops haven't exactly done much, purely because RBG, they're away from what would be the pivotal choke points or the pivotal interaction points. Double over towards the CT area of B. Can't get over that point, by the way. Imperium still very much spread throughout the map and a default with just about 40 seconds left in the round.
Yeah, this is a perfect play to counter the double ops and counter the ops in general on Inferno. If you're a CT side team, you can wait for the Ts to walk into you. Close angle engagements are very difficult to win if you are peeking into it without utility, and Imperium have burned through most of it. Wilkie does catch Walco going for information, though. Wolf will pop up on the coffins and wait for a push. How is this site take going to work out, though, with 2 ops? Valens needs to win that duel. J-Dubs gets 1 in the fire. We'll trade out as Wolfie was able to pick up 1 from coffins. And now here comes Atomic to try and get the op kill. Misses a huge shot, though. That needs to be landed every single time for Atomic, and they'll have to fall away. But so will RBG here, not wanting to go for this retake. No utility to go for it. Not enough health on Hex to really risk it either. So it will be an 8th round on the board from Atomic. But a lot of that was just due towards the slow and methodical play and no information gained by RBG.
Can't believe it worked.
I already had to quote steal once in the first game, so you can do the honors this time.
Nah, I'm good. I think that nail has already been beaten down. Imperium. It is what it is. They move on. They do get themselves the 8th round, as now RBG looking forward to pretty much absolutely nothing going into this next round. They still want armor to work with, and that's the thing, right? With RBG, with these eco rounds, they still have a monumental amount of utility. And I guess that you mentioned Hail Marys. That's almost literally that same concept. But they try to put these hero rifles in the most optimal positions possible, especially off of what I was mentioning with the utility. They try to put those hero rifles in the most optimal positions possible, essentially off of those retakes. And I think we're about to see that coming a little bit later into the round. But Imperium, they're not exactly looking for any early interactions. They're still very much going for the defaults once again, trying to stay as safe as possible, Boggs.
They do have a good amount of banana control here, though, and that has not been retaken by RBG. Off of the back of that, though, I think Imperium are starting to sniff around the A site and maybe feeling like it is the more comfortable of sites to take. However, because of the lack of banana presence, RBG are going to go for the gamble stack here. It's a very solid read. The A side is incredibly difficult to retake, so if you throw your bodies here, it could work out. The flashbang not going to blind Atomic, though instead it blinds Hex, Wiz, the teammate of Hex, who threw the flash. Chop gets 1 kill, but trades are not enough at this point. You're already down a player. Not to mention you're on the CT side. Wolfie, though, with a huge kill with the CZ on Gold's Era box. Atomic falls back towards lane, trying to allow Wilkie to get something done. Ding through the box onto Hex. More damage on the spray. The swing, though. Wolfie, another on the CZ 75. Wilkie will get the trade kill, and it's a 1v2 for Walco, but a very winnable 1v2, especially if they're in the open. Atomic's been spotted. Walco rather, going to smoke the bomb, and Atomic now has to swing towards pit or go up into graveyard. He's going to hold behind the smoke. The legs will show.
No
the
shot.
head will show, but Atomic through the hay cart shuts down Walco, and Imperium again off of the back of Atomic, who is having himself a whale of a game at 24-7. That's more than a 3.0 KD for all of you mathematicians out there, is carrying Imperium forward on this map. He wants Nuke, and he's dragging his teammates, kicking and screaming towards that destination.
Kicking and screaming with a Pele ball and Mike Ditka and everything. Oh my lord. In we go, folks. RBG now. I mean, we mentioned the monumental amount of utility going into these rounds, but it's almost literally nothing. They have USPs going into this one. They mounted most of their pressure over towards the A site. Imperium, once again, still going for yet another default, but it's still a little bit more B side heavy. Look at see what they get snack back. Same thing with Chop. Chop gets fully flashed. Walco gets the kill back onto Valens. And Sharp still goes down. What on earth is happening?
What?
These are USPs, Box. USPs. Atomic and Wilkie. They gotta run. What on earth is happening?
Gus,
Valens. He has 1 kill this far. He was point blank and his teammates full flashed him. I'm at a loss for words.
Gus, a fortunate son is playing in the background right now for me. I'm getting flashbacks to Mirage where RBG won a USP round. And Atomic is deleted. Wilkie's in a 1v3. Not like this. Imperium, not like this. RBG 2 rounds in 2 straight maps where they win with just USPs, and this time 3 players alive, an AWP and 2 AKs, a team ace with USPs. How? How does this happen twice in one match? How does this happen twice in one season?
Hey, man. We've mentioned the versatility of the pistols with this team, but not the USPs. I mean, we're talking about P250s, we're talking about Deagles, we're talking about 5.7s, we're talking about players with armor. They had nothing, Bugs, nada, zip, zero. Imperium now, they have themselves a chance to really mount their own little upset here. They have double Galil and an AK to boot. Tech 9 swing again from Wilkie, snagging himself the kill back, but in we go. Now it's a 3-on-4. As Imperium, they still very much have control of these entries from RBG. Still a little bit of normalcy, but normalcy would have been the win for RBG more than anything. But in we go, still double church at the moment. Wilkie's the one behind the smoke, just looking out for the information. Atomic waiting for the smoke to dissipate, but Wolfie clean through the smoke, gets the frag. Valens now, he has to solo hold Banana. He got so much damage onto Wolfie. Just one would do it, but he's still going back to try to help out this take on, but he still goes down. J-Dub's now 1v3, still spraying on. Wills pulls out the Sardam, but still nothing. Huge from J-Dubs is now Wolfie. He's got to run. J-Dubs on the front lines, being the insurance policy. Imperium, they take a 10th.
You know what it all starts out with, Gus?
What?
It's that kill onto Walco on Banana.
It had to be.
If Walco falls back there and he plays on site, the site still has defense. He can stall for rotations to come through. Instead, he gets flashbanged, and instead of falling back, he plays with the confidence of a team that just won their second USP round in a series, overstays his welcome, and gets mowed down without a single point of damage going his way. That's overconfidence right there. That could bite RBG in the back. You cannot let an opponent stick around, or they will strike.
It's just one of those games in a sense. Again, at least going into this matchup specifically, I still very much anticipated a more even battle, but I think both of our predictions were a 2-0 RBG scoreline. And this map alone, I think we ended up giving just Imperium almost no shot on this T side, but looks like we have to hold our tongues because really both of these teams, no matter what situations they're in, they still have a chance to really throw in. So in we go, folks. 3 players over on the A side for RBG, 1 in Arches. It's going to be a double smoke lineup, 1 in Moto, 1 in Arch side, and in Imperium. This seems very much centralized. I'm just trying to make up as much space as possible. Still 50 seconds left. Not much time to actually act with. Look how many players are full flashed. If Chop had actually gone for that swing, that would have been an 8. But Valens, here we go. Ends up getting the kill back onto Walco. Still 2 over towards the pit area. J-Dub's getting 1. Wolfie, here he goes. 2 kills for him, but it's not exactly an equalizer. Wiz, last man remaining in a 1v3. He has an up, light armor, and nothing else to work with. He's got a back on out in Imperium. They have a tie scoreline, 11-11.
Make a wish here, my friend, because right now for Imperium, their wish is starting to come true. They got gifted a round back by RBG, and now they're making full effects of that. The money is broken on the CT side, and Imperium will keep 3 alive. The bomb plant will boost that economy even more. And if they somehow get this kill onto Wiz, there's a flank coming in from Valens, who's starting to heat up a little bit now. That's going to really destitute everybody on RBG. Nothing saved over into the next round. Their loss bonus, I believe, is only on 2nd or 3rd round. So with that, it's somewhere in the range of $2,400. It's not a lot at all. It's $1,900. 2nd round loss bonus. That is bare bones as it gets. But RBG, if they can do it with the pistols, with the USP pistols, my friend, I think that there's a chance they can do it with upgraded pistols, with CZs, with 5.7s, with Deagles. There's only 1 Deagle though, so USPs
not again. Let's calm it down. Let's calm it down. Literally nothing has happened thus far in this round, but you know, just no bad juju in a sense. Wiz, he does of course have the hero rifle in terms of the AWP, but he's sitting up on the A site instead. Double hold of the B site. It would have to be a fast rotation once again, as RBG, they had a whole lot of bodies over towards the B site when the take from Imperium actually ended up going down. So let's see what actually goes down. In comes the AKs trying to overwhelm, but Chop, no way, he still wins that one out. Finally, the damage goes in. Wiz still in the back lines. That hero rifle comes in big. He picks one right out of the air like a clay pigeon. Still 3-on-3. Wolfie on the front lines knows exactly where Sherps is, and it goes. Hex takes him down instead, and Wiz ended up going down. Just a very weird interaction in general. Still a 2-on-2. Bomb still fully in the line of sight for the boys of Imperium. 1 in Grill, 1 in Banana. These last 2 players, they have no util, no armor, but they still have a whole lot of hope. Watch out for J-Dubs. J-Dubs has to win this one out. Hex with a whole lot of damage. Big flashbang used up by Wilkie. He makes his own space. Why? Hex now in a 1v2 though.
Why?
Oh, not again.
Why are you peeking?
I can't believe it. It's happened. USP's down the board for RBG. They had an up.
I mean, this time 4 of the 5 kills came with the op. But
okay.
My
so
question again: why are you peeking that?
I think that's just your
2v1. You have the bomb in both of your views. You hear the scope of the op, and you peek without any sound cue that he's on the bomb. Why?
I think that's just your IGL side. Really speaking at this point. I have no answers. No answers, folks. Imperium, once again, this scoreline should be about a 13-10 at this point, at least. But instead, we're seeing a lead now for the boys of RBG, and potentially more space being made between the two, because Imperium is still dipping more than enough economy into this round to really make things a detriment if they end up losing. Oh boy, Boggs. Can we see the back and forth again? Can we see a couple of rifles? Just the trio of them once again come up big. As now RBG, they end up putting up the same 3A setup, and Imperium with a little bit of early util, but not actually approaching. Good counter util from RBG. Smoke in mid, and Wolfie readjusting to oh, no way. to Boiler,
wow.
but still able to get 2 off of that. Very interesting. Hex still beating through the smoke, taking down J-Dubs. Sherp's now the last one remaining in a 1v4, and Wiz through the smoke gets him. 13-11. That one happened in a flash.
That one was a very quick round. It's a good double kill from Wolfie, plus the damage onto that first player in that smoke. That's, I want to say it was Hex, but it was J-Dubs, my bad. Hex was his teammate, but still, that's a great bit of work from Wolfie to almost get 3 kills from that Boiler position. That's usually a 1 and done, and he's still able to get 2 kills. Out of that alone, that's huge. And then the rest of his team's going to mop things up. That's exactly what you want to do from that sort of position. You get 2 kills, and job's done. The rest of your team has to close things out, and that's exactly what RBG was capable of doing. Now the money's broken for Imperium. They have P250s on 2, Deagles on 2, and a Glock for Atomic, who's already been chunked down to 52 HP. Looks to be a pretty standard Halls pop here, aside from the fact that the Molly's going to force them away from that idea. They will still hit towards brackets, but in the end, this should be a moot round, and a 14th on the board for RBG, with Imperium having to battle up against the wall, as it'll put RBG 2 rounds away from the match.
Oh, Wiz. Oh, he's actually going to fall for that first bait. So many players on the front line. The USP comes back to haunt him, but even then, kill back for Sherps. I know that's just well done for Imperium, putting all of their eggs into one basket, just targeting one area. Still, you have Valence coming up short, and Imperium not exactly committing to the full rotate to B. So, I mean, this is more than their setup anyways. They're just waiting around that area for a couple of picks off the rotate, but 2 players still in pit. It's still very much a big chance for them, but a deep smoke once again. This is the same rotation smoke that that the RBG team ended up using, but still Wolfie on the front lines ends up getting 1. Hex with another one. Still Bomb's gonna be able to go down with a man disadvantage. Atomic looking into pit. The rotation coming in strong, and these positions, Boggs, for Imperium, they're so scrappy in a sense. They have to battle everything out one by one. Chop now trying to swing on in. Atomic last man remaining, but a nade's gonna do it. Yeah, Imperium, they didn't exactly have a linear goal off the post plant, but they did more than enough damage. Their economy comes back into play.
There was a decent amount of damage done by Imperium in terms of the 3 kills. If you want to look at the silver linings, but it's not going to matter all too much here, is RBG will still get a full buy here. Imperium, they can't afford to lose 2 more rounds. They have 1 round as a margin for error. They have AKs, they have utility. What can they do with it, though? They need to start working as a team, though, Gus. It's something that I've noticed they've been going too individualistic. They've been trying to do too much on their own shoulders. When RBG, yes, a lot of times they do have some pretty huge plays individually, but off of the back of those, you get utility plays from their teammates that set them up for a lot of these good kills. Or they're in a good angle to do so. And Imperium, they've strayed away from what has been really giving them rounds, and that was going to
I guess so. I think Imperium still very much is trying to do... Each player is trying to be their own hero. Each player is trying to do things so individually styled, really just trying to do it all. I mean, we saw it in the 2v1s. Still, J-Dubs wanted the kills. Sherps wanted it. They had the feeling that they just wanted to just close it out all by themselves, that they really didn't have that help in a sense. And I think that does more or less contribute to the fact that Imperium, they still had their player changes. They're still very much young in this season of Premier, but still with this RBG team, they still have that same dynamic. It just so happens to be that the core has been together for longer. Still talking about the round. 30 seconds left, folks. In we go with a take. Couple players popping out of halls. Still, Hex and Wolfie sitting up in pit. It's essentially a 2-on-5, but Atomic still finds Wolfie. Hex burning alive, but he's still alive. Valens needs this frag, but he's reloading, has to back out. Hex still with a chance for another run, but Sherps on his drop down, gonna be able to get it back. 8 seconds left. Bomb needs to go down, and indeed it will. J-Dubs takes one back. Still Sherps with, no, not exactly a kill over onto Moto. Still, now it's a 2-on-3. And the rotation back for the save. So RBG, they're going to let up a chance to get into a 15th.
And the day set's extremely difficult to retake without utility. And that's something that RBG sorely lack. They also have an op in the hands of Wiz instead of a rifle, which makes it that much more difficult to retake. So the wise call by RBG here. You have a couple rounds to play with. You surrender this one, get a full buy up in the next, try to hold things down. But for Imperium, they stave off what seemed almost like an imminent result for so long in this matchup that now they're putting themselves in a position where they can get back into this game and potentially take this to nuke, at the very least in overtime. That overtime point has not been reached yet by RBG. Despite them still being in the lead, they're getting towards a very scary economic scenario too on the CT side, where if they lose this next round without saving any guns, it's going to be 14-14, with Imperium having RBG on a reset point if they grab the 15th.
Which in theory puts RBG in a great position, but this is yet another one of them ecos. The hero rifles needs to come out to play, and Imperium, they almost end up exposing what was RBG's more aggressive take over onto Banana. An early frag 2 coming up from Wilkie on the other side of the map as RBG again trying to do it all in the round, but man, what a flash from Chop that's going to allow Walco to just get one and run on away. Good hit and run, but still a whole lot more work to do. Just about a minute left, Boggs, and 2 players from RBG over on A. They're still very much, I guess you could say, paranoid to the rotation. A little bit more of a gamble, but Imperium just taking their time.
It is the stack now towards B. It's going to be the 4 stack too. RBG putting all their eggs into this one basket. And we'll see what comes of this. The op's going to rotate in towards Coffin's utility, starting to fly through a Molotov towards that Coffin's position. A smoke will go just behind it, so the molly is still in effect, but that boost deleted by J-Dubs. However, Walco shines for 1, but Valen's and Atomic are able to get this back, leaving Hext in a 1v3, but he's made it a 1v2. I'm getting flashbacks this time towards that Hext 1v2 he had on that pistol with the op saved round. He's going to rotate away, though. The time is very low, and the bomb plant's still yet to come through. It's down in the open, and Hext could deny here. At the very least, take down 1. The Valen swings well. The aim punch factors in, and it will be the 13th on the board for Imperium. A little bit of a scary one there for the T side. They are able to come away with a win, and the money on RBG a bit in a rough spot. They could go for a full buy here. Wiz a little bit less fortunate than the rest of his team. I almost would take a timeout here and talk things over before rushing into this. And somehow Wolfie comes out of this with a CZ and 10,000 or 1,000 in the bank.
Yeah, it's a little bit weirder, but again, Wolfie did play up with the CZ a little bit earlier on. He was playing over in apartments, which again, just it was more of an optimal spot for it. But this time he's gonna be playing anchor on B site with a CZ, most likely being that that CT smoke pop that a couple of players have gone for. But no way!
Wow.
No way! Chop and Walco! Double peek down Banana, and they just get caught in the same spray down from Sherps. Now Wolfie, he has that CZ we mentioned before, and he's the anchor of B site. He has to just chill out, wait for his teammates to potentially help him out. Ooh, okay. Still Valen's making his own moves with a lurk down in apartments. Could expose Hex if he actually does go into balcony. He's not going to clear. Oh, he's not going to clear. This could be big for Hext if he just watches over the mid-rotation, but that's, of course, if this team actually wants to commit over towards the A side. Just speaking in hypotheticals at this point, the worst-case scenario, but, well, now Imperium. They execute onto the B side. Valens is still here, vibing out in terms of a lure. Gonna be able to get 2. Hey, attaboy, coach. Valens. Take it 2 back. Hex was the one with all the information. Essentially false information, too. Him sitting up at balcony, hearing all of those footsteps, and Valens, he's out of there. That was wonderful.
Yeah, Valens does a very good job on that lurk, taking down the economy of RBG. And this is what I talked about, that scary economic situation for the red, black, gold. I believe their loss bonus is now somewhere in the range of max. It's going to be close. But how do they want to buy here is the question. Do they go for the full invest around this M4, or do they try and play for overtime? I think that their best option is to go for the full buy, because it's a lot better to be playing with a killer instinct than just to be playing for a tie. The problem being, if they lose this round, okay, so it is 2,400 loss for this round. Loss bonus next one should be 29 if my memory serves me right. It's not going to be good, and they are going to just go for the pistols. They've had success on these sorts of rounds, but is it replicable here? I don't know. I hope not, for the sake of Imperium. And for the sake of my own mental sanity. I don't know about you, but if I saw another round like this go the way of RBG, I'd lose it. I'd toss my brain into the bin and waltz off into the sunset.
Or just enjoy your birthday, in a sense. You know, I don't know what would be better. Sitting here in the booth, vibing out, seeing what would be mind-boggling plays from RBG again and again. Nothing like stress to finish off a birthday boy's day, but even then, we have RBG playing up still with that 3-man B setup off of what they've usually been doing. And Hext, of course, as the hero rifle, staying more versatile, very much reactionary off of the rotations. He's here to try to help out on the A side as Imperium. They're still booting on a little bit of util, but RBG, they're not budging. They're still staying over towards sites. They're not going for any off angles in short. Next to looking over. It's a lot of time being crunched off the clock here, Boggs. We could see the miracle again.
It's always scary when you buy so much time against the CT side, but that's a free kill there for Valens. Walco, his first victim. Soam's going to continue to push on towards the site. Spots out one in mini, but that's a good headshot. Chirps in the meantime.
Oh my!
Eliminates one. Hex does spray down for a boatload of damage, but it's not going to equate to a kill. So much damage, but it all ends for naught unless Wolfie's able to pull this one back with a P250 and an A site swarming with enemies. Maybe he can blindside the first, but there's a quick trade from Atomic out towards corner. That actually falls away. It's a gun grab, and Wolfie's just going to run. Wise move there.
Yeah.
And it will be... Never mind. Wolfie, you're not going back.
What?
Surely not Wolfie. Gets another
Surely
headshot.
not.
Now there's time. He hasn't...
Oh.
That got too close.
Unreal. I got way too close. Barely enough time to... Don't really know what the plan was for Sherps either. Thought everything was safe. Thought that Wolfie would be saving something, but still, even then, folks, match points, or I'm sorry, not match point, map points here for Imperium. And boy, what a roller coaster we've been on. Didn't really anticipate Imperium to really be in this position, but I mean, we definitely did. From the amount of times that they've reset the economy of RBG, it's almost an inevitability that Imperium would be in this position in the first place. But with the amount of ecos that RBG has won, it would almost be heart-wrenching to see them lose this one out. But in we go. Double B site. One sitting up back over towards Coffin, still very much holding up Gorilla's Walco. Imperium not exactly with too much attention over towards the A side like they've been used to doing, especially in terms of lurks. Don't really util just yet, just more time being crunched off as RBG setting up something cheeky. Boost on back box once again. 1 minute left here, Boggs.
1 minute on the clock, and that's a lot of time to try and kill for RBG. And not a lot of time for Imperium if they take too long on this hit. They're just going to rush, though. Flashbang's coming through, but a kill goes the way of Walco. Atomic trades. Sherps needs this kill, and he lands it. Takes a dink, but that's enough. Site control now taken by Imperium as Wiz tries to push his way in. No scope landed, goes back for more. He exchanges broadsides with Atomic. And a collat! No! He catches Atomic in the smoke.
No.
That's massive, and Wilkie's low. And boy,
are you kidding
me? The kill! Valens down to 1v3. He's got it to a 1v2. But somehow Wiz makes some magic happen. And we're going to overtime here, folks, as Wiz pops off Atomic and Sherps 2 kills away from a 30 bomb. But it's Wiz who steals the show here in round number 30. What a play there with the AWP.
Oh, folks, we need a moment to take that one in. We're going into overtime, and we need a little bit of a break to take things in. We'll be right back with map number 2, overtime between RBG and Imperium.
We're stuck in your car on a Friday night, and we laugh away stuff we try not to talk about. Still your smell keep on heating up the climate, and all the blood to my cheeks are rushing out, yeah, yeah. And by accident, you're getting closer. Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? Is it a wild shot of letting you know that you're the topic of all of my thoughts? 'Cause I'm so sick of this friend.
Well, folks, how are y'all doing? You guys all right? Because we sure are. We're here ready and raring to go for overtime here on Inferno between RBG and Imperium. And Wiz, this guy, man, this guy out of nowhere exploding for a 3K to bring this into OT. We couldn't have it in any better fashion here, Boggs.
Oh no, we couldn't. Imperium really showing new life and new determination down the stretch in this map. It started off good for them with a 5-1 lead. Started to fall off towards the middle portions of that half. They stabilized with an 8-7 half. But for them to take it to OT or to map point, then for Wiz to just pop off, you gotta wonder what the mental's like on the Imperium side. They had a good bit of a break though. Let's see what they can bring back. Atomic has his op, as does Wiz. A battle that has been very worthy so far today. A 3 stack towards Banana to kick things off for RBG. Utility goes down, does a little bit of damage. But that little bit of damage is so negligible, it's almost not even worth mentioning. 3 done to J-Dubs. Well, the early engagements go pretty much negligible at all.
Yeah, nothing too much already, but there's still more than an opportunity for RBG to clamp down on these players still studying around in Banana, but Chop. It was more than anticipating an actual take, but the Molly ended up taking out the players. Really trying to approach, but oh my god! Atomic through the wall. Take it while go down to 13 HP. Don't know how that man is still alive. But in we go. Double Apps Hall, and Wiz full flash still gets the kill. That's unreal again. So that's the first kill. That's the first kill of the round, Bog. So many close interactions, but really that's going to be the one to open things up. Still RBG. I mentioned putting eggs into one basket, but this might be a detriment. 4 players for RBG over on the A site as Imperium. They still have Valence again on the lurk, just trying to make as much noise as possible. And look at the amount of util that this RBG team is actually using to really strafe things off. In they go, though. CT smoke goes down. Chop just might have a little bit of a gap and a little bit of noise, but the bomb will be able to go down with just about 15 seconds left.
Chop could go for a hero play and try and stop the bomb plant, but it would probably just lead to his own death more than anything else. He will play the smart play, wait for his teammates to come in for rotations. It's going to be a 5v4 retake. Everybody from RBG coming from the CT spawn side. Great flashbang for Chirps, but he's not able to get anything doing with that. Chop will get the kill instead. Wolfie blind as a bat will get another. J-Dubs goes down. Valence and Atomic, now just Valence left alone. And it's such a good retake from RBG. They only lose 1, and that's in the final engagement. What a statement of a round from RBG. Wiz starts it off with his magic wand. Wolfie with 2, Hext and Chop getting kills. Utility in team play, a massive factor here for RBG, and the differentiating factor in that round.
Just well played on in a sense from the boys of RBG, taking things tick by tick. But again, some of those interactions were a little bit lucky in a sense. Couple full flash kills back from RBG, both in Church and up in Grills, so really thinking they're lucky stars. But overall, just their plan in a sense was more than efficient. Still Imperium, grouping on back to what has been their old default format, but it's not exactly a default. They're actually committing the bomb over towards apartments in double balcony. I mean, I keep mentioning plays that you would say, who on earth would ever anticipate that? But they're actually going to back on out of it. Wolfie, he's going to stay the linchpin of this area as he has been around the apartments area really this entire game. And Hex trying to be the pivot. Hex trying to be the guy to take on the first interaction as Imperium's going a little bit faster than anticipated on the A site in terms of noise. but still staying very spread out throughout the map. Lots of attention at the moment, just about a minute left.
Still looks to be an A hit here from Imperium, but RBG have a fast rotation and Walco already ready to go. Their 3-stack towards B has been shuffled towards a 3-stack on A. The utility starting to flood in now as the time starts to tick a little lower. Walco could get the information out towards Arches as it looks to be a veggie wrap. They could push towards CT spot and split to B, but I think it will be the veggie wrap on towards the A site. Smoke goes to front library. That is very indicative of this. Flash goes through. Walco needs a kill, but it's Atomic instead. Hexton Pit needs to be huge, and he will spray down one. Damage onto another as Wolfie finds a kill on the Sherps. Chop chimes in for one more. Wilkie out of apartments, the last alive as Atomic falls to Chop. And Hex will finally get his kill. 17-15 now for RBG as things are getting more and more close in the sense that RBG are getting closer to victory.
Oh, yeah. This is finally what we anticipated out of these guys. It's a lot cleaner than before. Looks like that entire break really just reset the mentality of these guys, and really they wouldn't be here without the insane play from Wiz earlier. So still thinking lucky stars and maybe even an early bedtime for these guys, but Imperium still not letting off the gas pedal. With a whole lot of attention spread out, and RBG again, who on earth would anticipate this? 3-man hold of apartments. 3.
I love it. I love it a lot.
That's huge.
It's a bit of a gamble because of mid, but you're most likely going to hear that utility or the footsteps. Walco does get taken down, so here goes the dismantling of that 3-stack apps. But overall, it's a very sound play when you have players the caliber of these RBG players. Wolfie and Hex combine on the Wilkie. 4v4, but Chop has to lock down this B site. Utility rushing through. He spots the legs of one. That's a huge kill for Chop. Yes, the hit's still going to come in towards B, but that's also information. Not to mention the man advantage. Molly in towards New Box. The push is going to come through towards Church. It's going to be a double swing, but there's help now for Chop too. He's just falling away, waiting for his teammates. Gets taken down, but Wolfie's right there for the instant refrag. Wiz chimes in with the op 2 through the wall. Atomic, the last alive. Spots out one in this 1v3, but the Flames will push him out, and they will burn him down to 13. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Out of the fire and into the frying pan, you might say. And it's the Deagle of Wiz to put the final nail in his coffin. And what could be the second to last nail in Imperium's 18-15. That's 3 rounds straight on the CT side in overtime. It doesn't get much better than that.
No, it really doesn't. Especially for these guys of the RBG squad. They really just want to close this thing out. And Imperium still, I mean, at least in that one, they had more or less the same strats as they did from what they had earlier. Not exactly too much of a change, but RBG, I mean, right as we thought, as their strat book couldn't get any deeper, they pulled out, and we didn't exactly see them come into fruition, but their plans in a sense in terms of over towards the A site. But that retake second round, it was immaculate box. This RBG team, although we've gone so far into this game, this team still got that fuego in a sense.
They still have that fire. It just took a little bit to get rekindled. Here we go. Match is live. 10 seconds on the round timer. Atomic has his op. He's been fantastic with it on the CT side of this map. He's had some huge plays to counter that of Wiz. But Atomic is going to need another level here. He's going to need to go from uranium to plutonium if Imperium want to have a chance at winning this round. They have all the money they need. They only elect to go with one op. I think that's a wise call, given their lack of success with the double ops throughout the day. And let's see what happens. Looks to be a fast apps control here from RBG. No banana control from them either. But this 2-stack on A could spell doom for Imperium.
Oh, surely could, but Atomic! No, got followed up onto a kill onto Hex. There's still another one in pin. They don't anticipate it just yet, but Atomic putting this team on his back again, getting a third. But now, Wiz, back in business, takes him back, wins the all-important battle, but I say it's all important, but purely it's because of the space. Bomb is still down over in brackets as Imperium finally with an advantage in one of these overtime rounds. And really, these last two players for RBG, they still have a whole lot of util to actually use up, but it's gonna be a while before we can actually see that happen. But Wiz with a collateral, gonna be able to get the second. No way. Still one player over towards middle. That's gonna be J-Dubs. He's flying at the moment, walking through apartments. 30 seconds left, and the bomb actually goes down. What on earth? Valens and J-Dubs trying to make it back. Wolfie has the angle, but Boggs, they're taking their time.
This is a good move. They have Molly, they have a smoke, they have a low HP Opper in the pits. They don't know that, but now they do.
Oh.
Wiz peeks, but he doesn't land the shot. But
No
Wolfie
way!
catches Valens jumping up. It's now a 1v2 for J-Dubs, and he is not in a good spot.
That's it!
Wiz shuts it down from behind. Atomic. He went nuclear, but Wiz went one step above. What a show from Wiz in the last few rounds of this game. That 3K to get them to overtime, and then the quad to win the map. What a show from these two teams. Wow.
Wow. What a showing, Wiz. What a time to be alive if you're an RBG fan. I mean, a few too many surprises in a sense, and a few too many curveballs.
It's like night and day between that first map and the second map.
For the boys of RBG, and Pilly, welcome back. I hope you were able to really digest that in the same fashion that we were able to.
Yeah, I mean that like I was saying before, that first map I felt like, you know, it was all right. There was a bit of pushback from Imperium, but that second map, that was so exciting. I really enjoyed that T side of Imperium. I don't even know where to start because I feel like that map almost lasted the length of a series and almost had as many ups and downs as a whole series, with the amount of like eco rounds that RBG won and the amount of calls that kept the boys on Imperium in that T side. I mean, it all started here. We could just go through some of the highlights. Atomic was going absolutely massive in the earlier parts of that game, and I would say the AWPs were actually a pretty big factor in this match. I wasn't expecting them to be Boggs, but Atomic and Wiz really having some massive performances here on Inferno. Is that something you expected?
I expect that from Wiz, and that's what I wanted to see from Atomic on Mirage. But he definitely turned up the heat here on Inferno, and there's no doubt that this kid has a lot of potential. He showcased that right there, showcased the confidence that Imperium put into his pickup too. And we talked to Newt in the beginning. He said that he was a very intelligent player. So many of Atomic's picks were also based off of holding good angles, not to mention the raw individual skill he has to back up the brains. So overall, it's good to see him pick that up after a rough start on Mirage, and he definitely shows he belongs here.
I was surprised Imperium kept that so competitive. I mean, I don't like to go in on people too much for their individual performances, but there was a large portion in that game where Valens had like 3 kills. Towards the end of the game, really sort of stepped it up, started to multi-frag a little bit, but I'd say the value that he added really lied in that T side that really kept them in the game and got them up to the 15 rounds there for Imperium. Really strong stuff there. Is that something that you expected there, Upmind? I mean, it is their opponent's map pick, but the structure was pretty immaculate, at least in regulation there.
I honestly didn't know what to expect for this team of Imperium going into this map, and I mean, color me surprised. I mean, this game should have been a lot less close in a sense. It should have been Imperium's win like 16-12 in a sense, but because of the amount of times that we saw just shocking plays from RBG, you can't really call things out for being, you know, all too clean, all too dirty for the Imperium squad. I mean, all in all, their T side, it was great. I mean, they had a good setup, they had the right decisions made pre-round, but it just so happened to be that the individual plays going forward was really what toppled them at the end of things. But yeah, I'm sure that this team will definitely take a very close look at what just went down, because I mean, they took RBG to the edge. I mean, they really had the game in the palm of their hands. It just so happened to be that they relinquished it, or it was taken by the hands of Wiz, either one.
Well, they did sweep things in OT, and speaking of RBG, I believe we're going to get them for an interview. I'm pretty sure it's ready. No, not yet. All right, we'll have to wait a little bit longer for that, just waiting for the player to get into the call. What do you think really changed there in OT, Boggs? Do you think that RBG just got that much better of a read? Was it a case of having a little bit more money, or maybe a momentum shift? What do you really put that down to?
I think it has to do, a lot of that has to do with what Wiz pulled off to get them to overtime in the first place. And then it was also that wake-up call that, okay, we can't be playing this sort of whatever happens, happens, Counter-Strike. We have done so well on top of this whole series so far. We can just do whatever. We don't exactly have to play with our brains. They turned their brains on. Yes, they went for some pretty out there plays, but those out there plays had backing behind it. They had sound tactical backing. And those were also plays that had not been shown before. That playbook was completely new. And if you can come up with plays like that in an overtime period, it's going to give you a significant advantage over anybody because it'll catch people off guard when you've already gone through your whole book.
Alrighty, well, we did mention the RBG boys there, so we'll bring Walco into the fray for a bit of an interview. How you doing, mate? Congrats on the win.
Thanks a lot. I'm doing really good. Happy to get the win.
So I realize that you guys have a bit of a different roster than the last season of Esea, swapping a couple of players in and out, and so far off to a good start there. Do you want to tell me what's going on with your team at the moment and where you guys are at?
Yeah, we're fairly new. We've been practicing for about a month, or a little bit over a month. And Mirage, we had a good showing, and Inferno was a little shaky, so we still need a bit more time just to round things out and, you know, get the practice going good and make sure everything's flowing. But yeah, we're just integrating everybody in, trying to get comfortable, and I think we showed that on Mirage. Just got to make sure we're showing on other maps as well.
All right, well, Upmind, did you have something to ask my friend here?
I was just gonna ask really what ended up cleaning your guys' play over in overtime, because Billy mentioned it earlier, but we don't exactly know like a hard answer to it. You guys seem more than ready for overtime, but did that last play from Wiz have anything to do with it, or did you guys just regroup and just restabilize in terms of mental?
Yeah, I think towards Mirage, we were a little shaky throughout, and that was something we tried to pay attention to. So going into overtime, we just tried to make sure we were all clear-headed, and I think, yeah, Jarek's play, had big impact, and I think that was the reason why we had such a good like half on overtime, especially CT side. He had a really, really big round.
Boggs?
I gotta ask, since you transitioned into the IGL role for this season, and it hasn't impacted your fragging whatsoever, if anything, you're looking as good, if not better than ever, how has IGLing impacted your overall view of the game? And also, do you feel any different in the server in terms of individuality?
Yeah, I think I feel a bit of difference. Me as a player and as a person, I kind of have to change into the like IGL, like the leader role. I pride myself on being pretty knowledgeable about the game and being pretty cerebral, pretty smart. So I think the biggest transition for me is just learning how to call like effectively, and I think I know, like my brain knows what to call in certain situations. It's just staying composed and actually leading a team and trying to be successful, make everybody successful around me as well.
Well, I hope that you will have that success. You guys finished top 8 last season, and I hope that you will have the same playoff success, maybe even more, and you got a whole Premier Season 2 sorted out. So congrats on your win today. I hope to see more success from you in the future, Walco.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Good to see them start off with a win on the board, but they have plenty more matches ahead of them. Pretty nice series that we had for them. Pretty nice birthday present for you, Boggs, I think.
Oh yeah, that was a fantastic map number 2. You called it a whole series in one map. I think that's the perfect way to sum it up. That had everything from ecos to stellar plays to individual rifle and op kills, and you got the op collaterals. You had everything from A to Z that you could want in a Counter-Strike match, and I couldn't ask for a better birthday gift.
All right, well, Upmind, I'll get you to have a look at some of the matches here on the schedule and give us your thoughts on them. Obviously, we already went through it earlier, but we have a couple more results to throw it in there, particularly the 2-0 there between GGPR and SKTC. You had a bit of a chat to us about that before. A surprise about how that one turned out, perhaps?
Yeah, absolutely. Both maps ended up going down 16-14 to the side of GGPR. Just so happened to be in the first map too was a little bit of a comeback where SKDC, they had the 10-5 lead. This GGPR team, they've been through a lot of turmoil in the last few weeks, had player changes, quote unquote, and they've really solidified. I'm really happy to see them succeeding, and them getting a win over SKDC is big for the rest of the season. But otherwise, in terms of B&B, that's expected. Big chillin'. ended up forfeiting their game because they unfortunately, or if I'm not mistaken, backing out of the Premier season. Unless they end up picking up that same core, then Big Chillin will not be competing within this next week. So it's a little bit unfortunate to see what's going down with the BC squad, but I think for the rest of Premier, things are shaping up quite nicely.
Perhaps they're just taking a step back, chilling, you know, just doing one of these, you know, just seeing the rest of the season, how that sort of unfolds. Of course, you had to go to the wide. Like, come on, man, you can't do me like that. Anyway, let's take a look at the standings here and take a little bit of a look at how well things are going or how poorly things are going for some other teams. We did mention Bad News Bears up the top of Group A, Mythic, Extra Salt. These are teams that we'd expect to be up there, but you guys did mention GGPR eking themselves out a win there, and they're sort of sneaking into that playoffs contention, try to sneak away that top 4 or top 4 spot and try to make their way into the playoffs. Wouldn't go too badly for them. Anything over there in Group B that sort of catches your eye there, Boggs? I know you mentioned before a team we haven't had a chance to take a look at yet, but a team that's done reasonably well lately is Rebirth, and they're sitting up the top there as well.
Yeah, I think the top 3 being Heiko, Secret Club, and Rebirth is pretty much to be expected. It's going to be a battle for that 4th and final spot, I think, and RBG with a pretty impactful win, both very solid lead on Mirage, and then the mental aspect of the Inferno game really showing through well for them, is going to give them a pretty big boost moving forward in the season. But then you have teams like Third Impact and Recon 5, not to mention Triumph. That's a team that has not played yet, and that I actually kind of lost on the standings because they're so far down, uncharacteristically so. That's a roster, another one that has been a little overhauled, but that's another team to keep a really huge eye on. In fact, I would give them a bit of a spotlight as a team to watch out for the overall championship of the Premier season. So there's a lot in Group B, I think, that has to be flushed out yet. It's a little less flushed out than Group A, but early going, it's shaping up to be a pretty solid fight.
Plenty more games to be unfolding here in ESEA Premier. Obviously, a big season that we've got going on here. Getting towards the end of things, but one more thing just to inform you guys about before we do close the show. If you go to esl.gg/ESEA Premier, have a nice little graphic there. You guys can take a look at what the next match is that will be broadcasted, and also take a look at a whole lot of information about the path to ESL Pro League and what these teams are competing for and things like that. Now, I do believe that we have a B stream as well tomorrow with a game ready for you. So if you're interested in that, you could probably go on that link and take a little bit of a look at what's going on there. Have you guys had a chance to take a look at some of those beautiful pages there, Upmind?
Surely, it's well produced, well done. It's up-to-date standings. What can I tell you? It's all that you need.
Beautiful. All right, well, that's going to be the end of the broadcast here in ESEA Premier Season 36 for North America. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. We will be back with a B stream for you tomorrow. Check out the link if you're interested in that. For now, take off and have a good one.
Only thing my eyes is locked in on half a million mine. I want it right now, don't waste my time. Family in a penthouse with a view sky high. Blood, sweat, and tears bring more to my eyes. Cause the whole gang winning, I done gave my life. Odds low, but we did it, dang we. And we always moving, never on the same thing. Now our lives are highlight reel. We like the thrill, this life's ideal. The hype is real.
We know it, it's just the way we live.